Business is booming for local shops that survived the pandemic. Now, they face a brand new challenge. The Arlington Fire Department hosts a fun community event with burgers on the grill, gift cards galore, and yeah, vaccinations. And we welcome you to the unveiling of a previously unknown work that adds to the legacy of an iconic local artist. It's all coming up next on ACMi News.
From McLennan Park to Spy Pond, from Poets Corner to the Mystic River, we have Arlington covered. We're your neighbors, a friend you can turn to. This is ACMi News.
Hello, Arlington, and welcome to ACMi News. I'm Toby Barrett.
And I'm Sophia Titus. Restaurants, childcare centers, and local businesses are continuing the process of reopening. All over the country, however, workplaces such as these are facing a major challenge: finding enough people to do the work. I spoke to a couple of local businesses to see how they're handling the issue. The United States is now facing a major labor shortage. When the pandemic began, businesses across the U.S. had to adjust to the changing conditions. Over a year later, these businesses are continuing to adapt. Now confronted with a lack of staff, Chris Furlong, owner of Twirl Pasta and Bistro, spoke about how he's addressing the situation.
What we're seeing at Twirl firsthand in respect to the labor shortage that is affecting all businesses, I believe, nationwide from everything I've read, is that this is our busy season and we typically hire more people in the summer than we do in the winter, so a lot of part-timers. People who we've hired in the past seem less enthusiastic about coming to work. And so it just makes it more difficult to get people hired.
We have enough people currently that we're able to operate in the hours that we do at the capacity that we do, but we don't have any room for expansion right now.
This is Jill Shaner, Cafe Nero's restaurant manager. She also spoke on the lack of interest in restaurant jobs due to experiences during the pandemic.
Unfortunately, in the retail business in general, it's a rotating door. But we were all unemployed. We all got furloughed because Cafe Nero was closed during 2020 for 3 months. It kind of directed people away from jobs like a coffee shop or a restaurant or something like that.
With everything returning back to normal, it's very difficult for these restaurants to return to full operations without an adequate number of staff.
We all had to shorten our hours because we just don't have the people to be there to do the jobs.
We pay higher than most restaurants do. However, we simply can't afford to pay more than that. So we will invariably be going short-staffed, and as a result, there will be some lapse in service, unfortunately.
The largest struggle for Twirl has been the fight against larger businesses for employees.
So, as a small business owner, it's difficult to compete with the larger chains that are offering hiring bonuses and much higher wages. At Twirl, we already pay. Our average rate of pay is $20 an hour. It's always been high. We like to motivate our employees to do a great job.
And even though Cafe Nero is a chain restaurant in Massachusetts, they are facing the same struggle as smaller businesses when it comes to the lack of applicants. But they're able to incentivize prospects a bit more.
It's a difficult thing to kind of predict how it's going to affect the businesses, but I think Cafe Nero as a company is bigger than Twirl is. We have around 35 locations in the US, but we have over 1,000 throughout the world. So even us as a company, we have a little more wiggle room there. Now that we're allowed to get together, Cafe Nero has game nights at their head office. They have Christmas parties every year that do a raffle, and it's a very close-knit company to be with.
After more than a year of intense struggle, local businesses cannot seem to catch a break when it comes to these types of challenges. There is more information on job openings on Twirl's website, twirlbistro.com, and on most job listing sites for Cafe Nero.
Massachusetts has suffered a spate of drowning incidents in recent months. So far, there have been 47 total drownings since the beginning of the year, with 18 in the month of June alone, according to the Boston Herald. ACMi News correspondent Alexandria Acacia, who is making her ACMi debut this week, spoke with an Arlington fire captain for guidance on water safety and the steps we can take to stay safe while cooling off during the summer months.
Summer is here, which means most people want to hit up their local pools and beaches, but some are concerned about safety by the water. Last week, Massachusetts emergency officials issued a water safety warning amid the startling number of drowning cases in the state. Out of the 47 drownings that have occurred, state police have investigated more than 24 cases since the beginning of the year. In Arlington, many people are taking the opportunity to get into the water, but that also invites the risk of drowning.
I can swim, but I'm not, like I said, just a strong swimmer. And so when I go to the beach, yeah, I'm very mindful about, the surf, how far out I am, who's around.
For swimmers like Sheldon, safety becomes a top priority around any body of water.
If you, know how to swim well and know how to keep yourself safe, be with other people, be with somebody in a boat, then it's okay.
For some, it may be hard to identify when a person is in danger. Arlington's fire training captain offers some guidance on looking out for signals of distress and recognizing emergencies.
One of the big misconceptions is that people are going to be able to yell and shout. Sometimes it's just as simple as they're going to just throw up one hand, or, they might even just silently slip underwater. We've definitely rescued a couple people out of Spy Pond, whether they be in the warmer months watercraft and they just tip over, they can't get themselves up onto their kayak or canoe.
At Arlington's Central Fire Station, the captain went over cues with his water rescue boat, discussing the process. Each boat comes well equipped with gear to aid anyone in any emergency.
If someone is in distress, you want to give them something to reach onto. They can kind of grab onto a stick, or it could be an oar, a paddle, or it could be just a tree branch. You can kind of pull them back into shore.
And of course, the primary tool for people venturing into the water.
By far the most important thing is a life preserver, as a personal flotation device, a PFD or a life jacket. Having one of these on you at all times, that's definitely the most important thing.
He provided a few more tips to help keep people safe while having fun in the water.
The Red Cross, along with us, they offer several tips. Some of them are, never leave a child unattended near water, whether they be teenagers even. You should always keep an eye on them. One adult should be in charge of supervising the child.
The department makes it their mission to let people know that no emergency is too small.
If anyone's ever in distress, don't hesitate to call us. We're not going to get upset if we show up and the person's out of the water and they're fine.
Arlington Fire Department asks people to stay vigilant when supervising people by the water. And according to the Red Cross, you can actually start introducing your children to water as young as 6 months. For ACMi News, I'm Alexandria Acacia.
Thank you, Alex. Earlier this month, the Arlington Police Department signed a formal pledge to advance women in policing as part of a nationwide initiative to increase and improve representation of women on the force. ACMi News correspondent Helen Frazier tells us more.
I think women can do anything that they want to do.
Says Arlington Police Chief Julie Flaherty, the only woman to lead a police department in Middlesex County and one of the very few in Massachusetts. The 30 by 30 initiative sets a goal for police departments across the country to reach 30% of women in the police force by the year 2030. The APD is one of the first in the United States to sign this pledge, giving it a lead role in this growing movement.
The 30 by 30 initiative is a coalition of police leaders, researchers, and professional organizations that have joined together to advance the representation of women in all ranks of policing across the United States. The initiative started in 2018 when former Chief of Police Yvonne Roman of Newark, New Jersey, met with Maureen Magot, Chief of Staff of the Policing Project at NYU. Together, they started the initiative after recognizing the underrepresentation of women in policing. Their research uncovered that women make up only 12% of sworn officers and 3% of police leadership in the U.S.
In Arlington Police, we're a little higher than that. We're a little higher above the national average, with 10% of our workforce are female police officers. We also have 2 candidates in the police academy that will be graduating sometime this summer, so that will raise our average up a bit too. So I think we're on a good track to reach that 30% goal by the year 2030, and I'm really excited to commit to this.
Research provided by the 30 by 30 suggests that women officers use less excessive force and less force overall, are named in fewer complaints and lawsuits, are perceived by communities as more honest and compassionate, and see better outcomes for crime victims, especially in sexual assault cases.
I think that the more we get the message out there, that it will be adopted by other agencies. We came across it on social media here at the Arlington Police Department. So I think the more that we promote it, other police chiefs will see the value of having more female officers, more diversity in their police department, and will also sign on.
APD officer Jessica Scarbo, who's been on the force for 9 years, provides insight into what it's like for some women doing police work.
I guess it's a little bit different for us because not only do we have to maintain this balance of being like one of the guys, but also drawing a line where there's some respect involved. It can be challenging at first, as well as having to deal with the community. You know, some of the community might look at you in a different light because you are a female. Sometimes it's positive and sometimes it's negative. So you have these two groups of people that you're constantly having to prove yourself to. So it can be challenging at times, but I think over like a course of a couple of years, you kind of get the hang of it, and it becomes a little bit easier once you get a couple of years under your belt.
Jessica wanted to push the department to make the pledge as soon as she heard about it, and she was ecstatic when she heard Chief Flaherty had already done so.
I think it's a really interesting initiative because not only is it trying to push for like a more welcoming workplace for people who are already here as females, it's also trying to get females to be recruited that would want to work here and show them that, you know, it's a safe and welcoming environment, as well as promoting. You know, it's wild. You know, the only female that's ever been promoted is Chief Flaherty, and that, you know, when she became a sergeant, that was like 20 years ago, you know. So when I got on, I didn't really see any leadership other than her in that role, so I took it upon myself to try and change that.
Jessica will soon take the sergeant's exam and seeks to follow in Chief Flaherty's footsteps by stepping into a leadership role.
Currently, 78 police departments in the United States have signed on to the 30 by 30 initiative. Other than the Arlington Police Department, the town of Northampton Police and the state police are the only other agencies in Massachusetts that have signed on to the pledge at this time. Chief Flaherty is looking forward to working with other departments to move forward in this initiative. For ACMi News, I'm Helen Frazier.
Thank you for that story, Helen. Last Saturday, the town held a vaccination cookout, a clinic. Senior news producer Anim Osmani brings us highlights from the event.
The Arlington Fire Department headquarters was a site of where residents got to treat themselves to some hot dogs, burgers, lemonade, and vaccinations.
On Saturday, June 26th, residents filed into AFD headquarters to receive a dose of the single-shot J&J COVID-19 vaccine for anyone 18 years of age or older.
We just wanted to plan an event that was local, fun, just a really convenient opportunity for folks who haven't yet gotten vaccinated to come in and get vaccinated. So we're offering the Johnson & Johnson vaccine today.
This wasn't a typical vaccination clinic. Residents were able to walk out with the $25 gift card and treat themselves to burgers and hot dogs that are grilled by firefighters. If there's anyone who knows how to work a grill, it's them. Additionally, it was a social event. Anyone was welcome to stop by, talk, eat, and receive frozen treats that were sponsored by Dell's Lemonade, a business still soon to come. The vaccines were administered by Armstrong Ambulance Service, who also participated in this event.
I'm glad that I got it done. I've been meaning to. And it saved me, actually, the other thing is it saved me the trouble to try to find a location that had Johnson & Johnson in particular. And it was very convenient to come in, to stay in town and just on a very nice day.
According to public health data, the town of Arlington is currently about 80% vaccinated with at least one dose against COVID-19, well over the state average and herd immunity status.
It is really great. I think that we're lucky here in Arlington. We have a community that's, really invested in protecting themselves and protecting each other. So it's really great to see that. I know we're higher than the state and we're higher than some of our neighboring communities.
Reporting from AFD headquarters, I'm Anim Osmani, ACMi News.
Thanks, Anim. After a long hiatus, 4th of July celebrations are back in Arlington. Reporter Toby Barrett spoke with one of the organizers of this year's festivities.
4th of July celebrations are back here at Robbins Farm Park. After 5 years away, Arlingtonians and organizers alike are excited to be back here to celebrate the holiday. We spoke to head organizer Tony Vogel about this year's upcoming event.
This is really wonderful for a number of reasons. It's not just back from COVID. In fact, as you recall, the fields at Robbins Farm Park were reconstructed whole big project. So our fields have been closed to events for 5 years. We've had events in neighboring areas to kind of make up for it. So this is the first time we're having the event for 4th of July actually in 5 years. So we've been really hoping each year the park would be finished, and then of course COVID came around. So, and we weren't even sure until maybe a month ago that it looked like we weren't going to be able to have this, but things have been opening up very quickly.
While the event returns to its traditional site, things are going to be looking a little different this year.
People may be expecting our usual full-fledged event where we have our band, and then we also have a big screen, and we simulcast the Boston Pops Esplanade concert followed by the fireworks. It's a TV broadcast. Mm-hmm. We're not doing that this year, and the town wants me to emphasize that we are not doing that. It's a shorter event. People should arrive at 5:30. Here's our nice visual aid here, our poster, which you'll see around town, particularly in the Robbins Farm Park neighborhood. So the event starts at 5:30, and it ends at 7:30, actually before dark.
Even though the event itself won't include the fireworks, they will have plenty of entertainment to offer for the whole family to enjoy.
We are having a limited menu. So we're going to have apple pies there for sale at very modest prices, along with drinks. And we would like to encourage people to bring their own picnic dinners. And I just want to tell you something a little bit about our band. Sure. They're the Reminiscents, who are a fantastic oldies band. They've opened for like big acts. They've opened for the Beach Boys. And they have told us that they really enjoy this event. It's among their favorites. And one of the things that we really like about it is that it's a very family-oriented event, and they really get into it, helping lead dancing with the kids and things like that.
For the latest updates, you can go to robbinsfarmpark.org or visit their Facebook page, Friends of Robbins Farm Park. Tony hopes to see you all there on Sunday evening to celebrate the holiday. A trustee of the Cyrus Dalton Art Museum recently came to ACMi to share an exclusive unveiling of a new addition to their vast collection of art. Once again, here's senior news producer Anim Osmani with an introduction to the piece.
Arlington's Cyrus Dalton Art Museum contains the largest collection of this special artist's work across multiple media, but that doesn't mean the collection is complete, at least not yet. Recently, one of Cyrus Dalton's descendants gifted the museum a self-portrait that not many people knew existed.
This portrait was quite a surprise to us. The painting was owned by the grandchildren of Daisy Dalton Southworth, Cyrus's only sister. And so they said they were sending a painting. We didn't realize it was a self-portrait. So when Heather Lavelle, our curator, and I opened it up, we were very surprised, one, at the size of the painting, but also that it was a self-portrait of Cyrus Dalton.
It's an exciting addition indeed, but the portrait didn't arrive in the condition you see it in now.
When we received the painting, it had, we're not sure where it had been stored, but it's at least 70 years old, and it had suffered a lot. The nails were rusted on the side, which held the canvas to the frame. There was cupping of the paint. There were a lot of bare spots, and there seemed to be like a white powder that had come through the paint.
The painting had to go through a long restoration process at Peter Williams Museum Services and was framed by Stanhope Framers. This undertaking was supported in part by a grant from the Arlington Cultural Council, a local body that is in turn supported by the Mass Cultural Council, a state agency.
This was the most expensive painting for restoration for us. One, because of the stress it's gone under, and two, because it's one of our largest paintings. And we're very grateful that we had assistance from the Arlington Cultural Council.
This isn't the only addition the museum is receiving. We will all remain in suspense about the next gift until the public unveiling that is scheduled for some time in the fall. Until then, the Cyrus Dalton Art Museum is providing walking tours of the historic and artistic scenery of Arlington throughout the summer and working on a remodel of the museum's interior. For ACMi News, I'm Anim Osmani.
Thanks, Aneem, and thank you, the viewers, for tuning in to this week's newscast.
Now streaming on our public channels is a new series produced by ACMi member Charlotte Pierce called Watershed Moment. Watershed Moment is a community media project that explores the region's waterways that flow into Boston Harbor.
You can watch Watershed Moment on Friday at 6 p.m., Monday at 8 a.m., and on Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Before we go, we'd like to wish everyone a happy 4th of July weekend. ACMi News will be taking a break next week, but we'll be back on July 15th. Until then, for the cast and crew of ACMi News, I'm Toby Barrett.
And I'm Sophia Titus. We'll see you soon.
You can always check out our latest segments and newscasts on the web at acmi.tv/news. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ACMi News. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You'll find us at youtube.com/ACMi News. If you have any news tips for us or wish to become a citizen journalist, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at news@acmi.tv or stop by ACMI Studio A at 85 Park Avenue.